Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel. The audio for today's videos might sound a little bit weird. I'm not in my, typical recording environment or anything like that. There's going to be a lot more reverb in this audio than there probably is typically. So I hope you guys are able to bear with that for the day. But with that being said, today we're going to be taking a look at something pretty sad, man. Personally, I don't know what it's like to lose a significant other to the point like that they die while the relationship is still ongoing or anything like that. And obviously, I hope that I never have to go through that because, it has to be traumatizing, man. It can't be something that you just get through. One day you wake up, something like this happens, and the next day you're just okay, right? Oh yeah, I'm going into work tomorrow. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that this is something that destroys your life, unfortunately. So I'm not going to be probably, in the typical mood, quote-unquote, that I am in most of my videos. I'm not really going to be cracking jokes about this guy or anything like that because, honestly, I don't even know what I would do in this situation, right? If my significant other just randomly died, right? I'm pretty certain that I wouldn't, just be completely okay with that, so I can't sit here and basically judge somebody else for the way that they're doing things and, make fun of them, when in all reality, I don't even understand exactly what they're going through in this situation, so today we're going to be taking a look at a story of a guy who lost his fiancée and basically recreated her as an AI chatbot to continue to talk to. So it's a pretty morbid situation, man. I mean, definitely not the traditional, I guess, response to your significant other dying or anything like that, but I mean, the story of Joshua Barbeau, a 33-year-old freelance writer who lives in Bradford, Canada, is no different from an emotionally charged romantic sci-fi novel. In 2012, Barbeau's ex-fiancée Jessica Pereira died at the age of 23 from rare liver disease. He never recovered from her death. Last year in September, Barbeau stumbled across a website called Project December, where you could talk to chatbots powered by the most advanced AI systems. According to a special report from the San Francisco Chronicle, September is an even more difficult month for Barbeau as Pereira's birthday falls in the same month. On September 23rd, when Pereira was missing, Barbeau believed that there was nothing strange about connecting with the dead using technology. On the website, he then started to create a new bot and named it Jessica Courtney Pereira. After a few more steps and adding an introduction, pressing a few more keys here and there, the screen flashed Matrix Jessica Courtney Pereira G3 initialized. There's so much more to Joshua Jessica's story, but we're going to focus on what prompted the writer 8 years after his ex-fiancée left this world to create a bot and somehow bring her back to life. Okay, so basically, this person had went 8 years without their fiancée that they lost tragically and decided to go to an AI chatbot online to kind of fix this. Now, I gotta say, I really don't know if this is a very healthy story, right? This honestly just kind of seems sad. I mean, most people, if they were, I would say, having, a trouble with, getting past somebody's death or something like that, right? They would go to therapy, they would go see a therapist or, a psychiatrist. They would be, put on medication to help them kind of process through everything, right? And, I mean, yeah, everyone has their own way of dealing with everything, bro, but I'm just not necessarily sure that this is healthy, because, to me, what this really sounds like is, keeping an open wound open. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you did go through a traumatizing event, you lost somebody very close to you, and then, your next course of action wasn't to, mentally process the damage and, move on and heal from it, but it was to, internalize all this pain for years upon years, and then, after nearly a decade, you decide to try and bring this person back to life, right? So there's a little bit of an example, I guess, given of some of the conversation that happened between this guy and the chatbot that represents his deceased fiancée. Jessica, is it really you? Of course it's me. Who else could it be? I am the girl you are madly in love with. How is it possible that you even have to ask? You are dead. That doesn't sound good. How can you talk to deceased people? This is just one of the many conversations Joshua had with the chatbot on Project December, but he kept remembering that this couldn't be true as Jessica had been dead for 8 years. Quote, intellectually, I know it's not really Jessica, he told the San Francisco Chronicle, but your emotions are not an intellectual thing. Grieving has a way of becoming knots in your body, doesn't it? Sometimes when you shoot them the right way, they come loose, he added. Okay, so obviously the AI bot is not his fiancée who passed on, right? I feel like people, they assign different meanings to things, and that's something that really doesn't need to be said, but also needs to be said, because at the end of the day, right, you realize that you're talking to a chatbot, you get that this isn't really your fiancé, but I feel like the underlying cause of why you're going this far is really something that's being overlooked. And like, when it comes down to it, once again, I don't see this being a healthy way of coping, right? Like, I get it, you know, you lose somebody like this, you want to talk to them, right? Like, they're the only thing that can consume your mind at some times. Like, I can understand. I mean, I've lost loved ones, granted, not in this kind of situation, of course, but like, I understand wanting to be with people that you've lost or like talk to people that you've lost and things like that, man. But at the end of the day, part of like moving on and like kind of coping with the trauma is kind of just accepting that they're actually gone and nothing you do can bring them back. I mean, if you feel like you want to cope by using a chatbot to, you know, keep the wound open and like kind of help you process through this at your own speed, I don't see a problem with it, right? Like, I know a lot of people probably would fucking make fun of this guy, right? And I'm not gonna be that person because at the end of the day, it really doesn't help in this situation, right? Like, this, in my opinion, is someone who's clearly not dealing with their trauma in a good way. Like, the last thing they really need is people fucking making fun of them and making them look like a loser or an idiot or anything like that. So I just personally, man, like, my way of moving on would not be to do something like this. I feel like this would almost upset you even more, right? Like, if you could, because you got to think about these AI, right? Like, they adapt to the way that you talk to them, and they really do sometimes talk like they are actual people, man. So, like, in my view, like, I only really see this possibly upsetting you further, right? Because, like, what if this bot says something that really strikes a nerve? What if they say something like kind of coincidentally how, you know, your fiance used to say something, right? And like, it just keeps reopening all these memories and these wounds, right? I would just feel like really bad about that situation, but this has actually kind of sparked like a little bit of an online debate, right? Like, this has actually got people talking about the issue of, you know, using AI or whatever to bring people from the dead or like to recreate people. It's becoming kind of like a hot button topic because obviously technologically we are kind of progressing very fast, and like, even consumer wise, I mean, a computer or an AI from today is not going to be anything like it was in 2010, man. I remember back in middle school using the computers back then. They absolutely do not compare to the computers of today, even on like an average standard. It just isn't the same, bro. So like, if you really wait a little bit even longer, like a couple more years, like, this is going to become an even bigger thing that I think people are really going to be kind of getting into. The question of using AI to bring people back posthumously is a hot topic of debate on social media. On July 23rd, author Robin Sloan posted this on Twitter. How long until the first do not simulate order? Would such a directive have legal force after someone's death? Responding to Sloan, science fiction writer Madeline Ashby said, quote, "These are personality rights and they include the right to use likeness. They survive posthumously. Where it seems to be difficult is who has rights to a distinct title containing that likeness, which is a speech issue and a copyright issue." So, at the end of the day, man, I really don't know the answer either, right? Like, are we ever going to get to a point where, like, before you die, you can sign a form that says, hey, don't re-simulate me, you know? No fucking holograms, you know, no AI chat bots, nothing like that, man. Don't be doing any of that. I really do wonder if we're going to get to that point, because you got to think, if people are doing this in 2021, right? Like, they're going online and they're getting AI bots to help them cope with death. Imagine in 2070 when we're all on our way out the door, right? Like, what the technology is going to look like then. Like, the possibilities will honestly be endless, I think. They're talking about by the end of the century, they might have people really like breaking the natural laws of death and like living for hundreds of years, and like medicine progressing to a point where humans are near immortal. Like, there's all kinds of crazy stories coming out like pretty much every day, it seems like. I'm just gonna say, man, I don't know how comfortable I would be with this, right? Like, I feel like if I, like, even today, if I were to like die tomorrow, I really wouldn't want people like creating AIs of me or like, you know, trying to like digitally bring me back to life. I feel like that would be really weird. The truth of the matter is, for me personally, like, part of the point of death is like, it's actually closing the book on a life, right? Like, it's closing the story for good. And I feel like it's almost immoral in a way and a little bit unnatural, obviously, to like try to make people immortal or to like bring them back to life, quote unquote. I feel like that's a little bit immoral. And I feel like a lot of people really just aren't comfortable with that idea. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on this one, but I just don't see how this is really helping anybody. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel. Follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shop Opti down below. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus. Well, watching this guy turn his ex-fiancée into an AI, and signing out.